have a story I want to cover. But remember, the reason why I cover these stories is not like for those of you that are not going to be surprised by what it is that I'm saying, because many of you are just going to look at this and you're going to say, oh, well, this is par for the course. This is what's been happening with this particular group of people. But this is more so for those people that are still out there on the fence or continue to still give these types of people the benefit of the doubt instead of actually looking to them and looking at them for who it is that they actually are. Bob Chapek has made it abundantly clear that who his allies are, per se, and what it is that he's going to do with his company, or what it is that their company route. Now, you've seen it. Anybody that's already picked up on this has picked up on this. There's been a little cultural shift. And maybe it's people giving them bad information or whoever it is. Yes, there's a bunch of people coming out of college that are working for companies like Disney, Blue Hair, weird as fuck, and they're coming out like, oh, we're going to lecture the people that are up at the top, all the CEOs and VPs and all of them, and tell them that this is the approach that we need to take for the sake of even making them more money. And that is social justice. They think that shit is going to be lucrative in the long run. My thing is that you should be privy to that. You should be aware. Look at this. As covered by Jacob Smith wrote it. So this is what he said. Chapek said, this is obtained by Variety, and he sent this email, said, to my fellow colleagues, but especially our LGBTQ plus community, thank you all who have reached out to me for sharing your pain, frustration, and sadness over the company's response over the Don't Say Gay bill. So he's going to call it what it actually is. It's more of an anti-grooming bill, if anything. But I think the public schools should be abolished, and then we don't have to worry about that fucking problem. Speaking of you, reading your messages and meeting with you have helped me understand how painful our silence is. It is clear that this is not just an issue about a bill in Florida, but instead yet another challenge to basic human rights. You needed me to be a stronger ally and for equal rights, and he says he let you down. He says our employees see the power of this great company as an opportunity to do good. Again, this is where I'm telling you that the companies are now an extension of the social justice left, and they're going to do what they're doing is aligning with them. Now, the thing that makes this especially important, it's not just, it's one thing to come out and be like, we're not anti-LGBT or whatever, which, again, I don't feel like why you'd have to do that if you're not. But you got to understand, like, this is politics as well, because these guys are talking about a bill pertaining to, Florida, strawmanning what it actually is. And just because they conjured up a narrative, they're expecting a company such as Disney to align with them. And they are. He says they're pausing all political donations in the state of Florida as well. And he says, there's so much work to be done. I'm committed to this work and will continue to engage the LGBTQ plus community so that I can become a better ally. You will hear more about our progress in the coming weeks. He says he mixed the mark, all of that. Now, again, what I really want to talk about, and you've seen all this gay shit, and I'm talking about literal gay shit being put out by Disney and all of that. And, they promise we're going to have more. It's almost an over-representation at this point, but that's neither here nor there. The important thing to note about all of this is that there's nothing equal in this regard, which is fine. I guess equality isn't a thing, but you get what it is that I'm saying. They find your views to be very abhorrent. So you think about what's happened over the last, let's say, 4 to 5 years, and think about the groups of people that have been demonized. Remember what they did to Gina Carano. Now, people had, of course, issue with this. It felt like a political punishment because you got people that work with Gina Carano, so with Lucasfilm, who have made analogies, or rather compared certain groups to other groups that happened to exist in the 30s and 40s, early 40s, right? And that was okay. Now, when the social justice left gets mad, there has to be all of this big statement, and but they don't come to your defense. That's the important thing to note. It ain't about just the politics per se. It's that they find your views abhorrent, so they'll get you the fuck out. They don't like you. They will never come to your defense. But when it comes to the social justice left, they trying to jump in front of a bullet for them. So my thing is, you can think that it's optics or whatever. Again, they're still using their power to perpetuate a particular narrative. We can talk about what they do in China. We can talk about there's a bunch of hypocrisy there. We know that. I know that. But that doesn't change the fact that they find other groups that are within this country. Your ideas are so fucking abhorrent that they will never come to your defense. But when it comes to the social justice left, they jump in front of a fucking bullet and they act as basically an extension of them. So all I'm telling you, or rather asking you, not telling, I can't tell you to do shit. I'm asking you to act accordingly, man. I say it, and I'm going to end on this note. I've continued to make this point. When it comes to the current entertainment industries, the left does not fund you, but you actively fund them. That's the fundamental difference. And that shows you how they are winning. Not to say that they are going to win, but it shows how they are winning. Because once they stop finding your views so abhorrent that they won't ever defend you or they won't ever do anything of that nature, that's when you know the tide has come to shift. And I don't know when that's going to be, but it's going to require folks that are not like these deranged sort of leftists adopting this other bullshit. It's going to take a lot of y'all to come to the realization that maybe you are funding your own destruction. Again, we ain't talking about fucking food and bottled water. We talking about entertainment, stuff that can be replaced very easily. Act accordingly. That's all I ask. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on YouTube.com/YoungRipper59 and Odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, EricDJuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.